Rubina KD Singh. She's an infertility and IVF specialist and a very prized member of our community. Good morning, doctor. Thank you for being here with us. Welcome to this Facebook Live. And I would give you, please, doctor, say hello to everyone online.
Hi, everybody. Hi, Upasna. Thank you so much for having me here. First of all, I would like to thank the admins of Gurgaon Moms for creating such a wonderful platform. I have been a consistent member of this community, and for all my queries, I have come to this platform.
Lovely.
And so, and I have also, found the community members to be also the admins to be very helpful. So I think, I mean, you all have helped me, and now it's my time to give back to the community. And I hope I will do justice by providing the valuable information today to all the community members. So
Thank you. Thank you so
I
much,
feel so
doctor.
honored. And also, I would like to ask from all the people who are online today, and I would like them to say thank you to Gurgaon Moms. Let's all virtually clap for the team behind, and also let's all type. I can't see the comments, but let's all type thank you, Gurgaon Moms, for always being there. My pleasure.
Thank you, doctor. That's such a very positive note. Thank you so much. We really appreciate that. So I'll just dive right in, doctor. The COVID-19 pandemic could have knockdown effects and adverse effects on women's health, the UN says. So we'll just take it about one step by one step. What would be your advice to specifically to mothers of expecting babies, those who are pregnant right now during this lockdown time?
So this is the group of the women who are majorly hit at this point of time. So first of all, I am also a mother of two little babies, and I know what each one of you is going through at this great time of uncertainty. This is a pandemic, and we need to understand what we actually know about the disease and what we actually have to take care about the disease, what precautions we have to take. We also don't want at the same time people to be over concerned, and also we don't want people to be cavalier or negligent towards the precautions taken towards the pandemic. So, since this being a highly contagious virus, we are yet to understand the real risk of the pregnant woman, real risks to the pregnant woman, and the expecting mothers who have just learned that they are pregnant. They should just practice the universal precautions what we are talking about, like frequent hand washing for 20 to 30 seconds till the elbow, wearing mask at home, sanitizing the high touch surface area with alcohol, and social distancing, practicing social distancing. So I would like to tell you a story here. I recently had got a call from a patient who was from the forum only. She was a part of the forum. She called me. She was 33 years old, and I still remember that she told me she conceived after 5 years of marriage, and some good effects of lockdown. Yes, during the lockdown she conceived. So that is when she was very stressed about the pandemic, and she was thinking to get the baby aborted because she was so scared and she was so worried about the effect of the virus to the growing baby. So I called her to my clinic, counseled her, showed her the little baby growing inside, and showed her the heartbeat of the baby. And that is when she felt so affectionate toward the baby, and all fear was shifted to the affection side. And obviously, still she is anxious for the baby's health. But to all the anxious mother, I would like to say that you need not to worry. Till now, there have been no case reported as such that this virus has caused any abortion, any miscarriage, any congenital anomaly, any developmental defect to the baby. Till now, no case has been reported yet. We are very young with the disease. I cannot say that it might come up in future, but as of now, we haven't received any paper, any study till now regarding the anomaly of the baby. So we need to follow the basic guidelines during the COVID and take care of the baby. I recommend these patients to take the antenatal medicines like folic acid, initial ultrasound, which they have to go through on the 6 weeks. This is a top priority. And also, apart from that, they should take care of themselves. They should take the balanced diet, plenty of food, short and frequent meals. They should avoid coffee. All of these measures they should take when they have just learned that they are pregnant. Also, to the people who are in the first trimester and they are about to complete their first trimester, they also should go for level 1 ultrasound. There's an ultrasound called NT scan, which is very, very important to know the anomaly of the scan, anomaly of the baby.
Okay.
So that is very
Right.
important, and nobody should miss this ultrasound, because if someone misses this ultrasound thinking that there's lockdown outside, so I there can be a congenital anomaly which is missed, and it can cause problem in the longer run. And apart,
NT scan, doctor. You said NT scan.
NT
And
knuckle
it should be done
translumination.
at 6 weeks.
No, 12 weeks. 6 weeks
12.
is just to know that where is the pregnancy, how many weeks, and the viability, means the
Okay.
heartbeat of the baby,
Right.
and to localize whether the baby is at the correct position or not. That is also important. So I would suggest in the first trimester, there are two important scans. One is at the 6th week, second is at the 12 weeks.
12 weeks.
In between, if somebody doesn't want to see the doctor and if there is no symptoms, then in
Mhm.
that case they can just speak to the doctor on phone and take a regular guidance. But don't miss these important milestone ultrasounds. They are very, very important and crucial. And those who are in the second trimester of the pregnancy, for them also, the piece of advice I have for them is that for them there is an important ultrasound, that is level 2 ultrasound. That is where we see each and every part of the baby very meticulously, and if there is any congenital anomaly, it can be picked in that ultrasound. So don't miss these important ultrasounds, and also the tetanus immunization. but
Mhm.
but the pregnant women who are in the third trimester, they
I was
are
just going to ask you that, doctor.
now.
What about people whose due date is imminent? What should they do?
So they are. This is the major challenge, because
Yeah.
they are the one who are suffering, and who are they have, medically and emotionally today also, they are not they are in a panic situation, and
Right.
emotionally they are not able to access the family backup, and they are worried to go to the hospital. Mentally they are extremely worried that they don't feel like going to the hospital, thinking that big hospitals has patients, COVID positive patients. So my advice to them is that people who are in the ninth month of pregnancy, they
Mm.
have to be extremely vigilant and alert,
Right.
because they are the one who have to take care of the baby.
Yes.
And they have to keep five things, very important five things in mind. Number one is keep monitoring the fetal movement. Fetal movement is the one only mother can perceive, and that is the most crucial finding at this point of time. So keep monitoring the fetal movement. You should have at least 10 fetal movements in a day, and at least 5 to 6 fetal movements after the meals.
Right.
That is very, very crucial. Continue doing the stretching exercises at home. Don't try any new exercise. Take a little walk in the house only, maybe on the terrace, maybe in the flat, wherever you are staying. Take all the universal precautions. And also, people are asking me so many times that should they go for antenatal visits. The only advice to them is that they should continue taking their and going for their antenatal checkups, because in the last month of pregnancy there are very important crucial things which we have to see. We have to see the maternal blood pressure, maternal blood sugar, growth of the baby, heartbeat of the baby. All of these are very important. And the fifth point is that they should know about the warning signs of the warning signs, that is any fever, any sore throat, any dryness, any cough, any feeling of dizziness, blurring of vision, or any patient who has a blurring of vision and also had history of previous difficult pregnancy. They should
Okay.
also be in a regular touch with the patient.
Right.
Now those who are very close to the delivery, so they are the one who are in a very
Anxious.
panic state, very anxious,
Uh,
and I'm sure I also went through a delivery 7 months back, and if this would have been situation today for me, it would have been very
I
difficult
went
for
through
me
many
also.
years back, doctor, many years, and I can still can imagine that if this was a situation, I don't
I
know what
know,
I would have done.
I know, and I am a mother of twins, so you can
Right.
imagine how bad would have been my situation. So,
Oh
so
God.
the advice for the ladies who are just close to their delivery, one thing is don't panic, just relax, and pack your delivery bag right on time, before time. Put all the essentials in the bag, like your maternal clothes, baby clothes, all the investigation papers, all the ultrasounds, pack them in the bag, and apply for your curfew passes. Third is talk to the insurance companies if you are going for the cashless policy. And the important signs they should monitor is that they should know the important signs of labor, that is the intermittent pain in the abdomen going towards back, leakage of the water, bleeding, or any reduced fetal movement. And don't worry, they are very worried to go to the bigger hospitals. I want to tell them all that, don't worry, the hospitals are taking care of this. All the maternity wards are away from the isolation wards. The COVID positive patients are in the isolation wards. The staff who are looking after those patients is also separate staff. So the maternity, the baby nursery, and the maternity ward are all separate, and the hospital is taking care of that, and safety of the patient is hospital's top priority. So I
So,
feel they should
doctor,
monitor well.
on that note, we have a question. Manisha Lokesh Sinha is online. Hi, Manisha. She says, my sister-in-law is expecting delivery mid of May. What precautions should she take when she goes to the hospital for delivery? Because it will be a cesarean, and she had a cesarean 2 years ago.
Mm.
Should I
So,
repeat?
anyways, the doctor. No, no, I know. Yeah,
Okay.
that's okay. So, Manisha, thank you for asking the question. The question is very valid, and the people who have gone through previous cesarean section, anyways, after 2 years, nobody will give them trial for vaginal delivery. The elective date, the doctor must have given them the elective date of delivery, date of
It
cesarean,
says mid May, doctor.
and
Middle of
I
May.
can't hear you.
She says middle of May.
So middle of May, but from the expected date of delivery, the previous cesareans get their cesarean done two weeks before the expected date of delivery. So that they should keep in mind. Number two, before going
Okay.
to the hospital, inform the doctor that they are coming for the checkup or for the admission. Take less attendants with them. Only the husband or the healthy attendant should go to the hospital. Limit the visitors going to the hospital.
Right.
Take all the universal precautions while going to the hospital. Wear your mask, sanitize yourself, keep sanitizing your hand. All these universal precautions have to be taken care of, and everything will go well.
Yes. I hope this answers your question, Manisha. So, doctor, how about now that the babies are born, do give us some advice for moms who have like infants, newborns.
So the babies, so now this category of people have to be extremely careful. They have the people, they have to, they have to monitor the people coming in contact with the baby, and they need to limit the visitors. sanitize the baby room before getting the baby home,
Hmm.
exclusively breastfeed the baby, uh, always sanitize the hand whenever you are handling the baby. No kissing, no hugging, nothing is allowed now for to the baby,
Oh,
and limited handlers,
it's
obviously.
heartbreaking, doctor.
I know, I know. And a lot of people are also asking me that, a lot of them have to go for their vaccination and they're not able to go
Yes,
because of the
yes.
lockdown. So the I advice to them is that don't miss your vaccination. Just be in contact with your pediatrician. I'm sure they will arrange something for the babies, something like a home vaccination, or going to the hospital when there are less people around, or going to the doctor's clinic where there are less people. But don't miss the immunization. And also stock up, please. I have stocked for my baby, so please stock the diapers and baby boxes, because baby milk boxes, because we don't know when the lockdown will end.
Right.
So I think they should stock up that also.
Yes, definitely. So, moving on, doctor, to from newborns, your advice for good health in for all kinds of moms, like of all ages, moms of all ages.
Okay, so before answering this question, Upasna, I feel I have to ask the community that um, how many of you feel stress during this time? How
Hmm.
many are stressed of this current situation? How many of you are feeling stressed of your health, your family health, your work life balance, coping up these days, challenges to cope up?
A lot
And
of people. We see so many.
so
Posts. Hmm.
please, everybody, write in the comment section stress, who all are feeling stress. I would like to see who all are actually feeling stress.
Stressed.
People are
So
writing stress. I
nobody's
can't see the
coming up and saying. Till then, we'll just take a quick question, Doctor. Deepa Verma wants to know. Hi, Deepa. How are you? She says, "What about a vaccination for a 10-year-old right now? Can we wait
See,
or go?"
no, I don't. No, I don't think that vaccination should be avoided. So I feel just carry on, continue the vaccination schedule, whatever WHO has given, and just speak to the pediatrician. I'm sure pediatrician will understand and will be able to help you, Deepa.
Great, great. So we have Anchal saying hi. Hi, Anchal.
So
So
nobody has
nobody's
written stress.
stressed, doctor. So we might as well just address it.
Okay, so I am actually feeling stress, Upasna. I'm sure you must also be feeling stress. So I think this is
Overwhelmed, doctor. Burdened. I feel not stressed, but overwhelmed with.
I know, I can understand because you have to see so many things.
Yes.
But I am actually, I being a medical professional is also feeling stressed about the situation. I don't know, because this situation is so new to each one of us. I don't know how to handle everybody at home, husband, babies, and everything. So I am only feeling so much stress that I don't know how to handle with it. But I think I will be able to answer this by saying that, it's not about the stress, which is the problem. I think it's the attitude towards the stress. I mean, we all should. If somebody is a, I don't know if there's a, if you are a mom, if you are a new mom, if you are a mom of a toddler, if you are a mom of a young kids, a mom of an adolescent, a mom of a teenager, mom of a special child, maybe a single mom, or an adult, or a mom of a, or a perimenopausal age group lady who's entering this age, perimenopausal age. I think uh, I think being mindful about the stress is very important. So by self care, by practicing self care, we can overcome this.
Yes.
So, I mean, by self care, I mean the physical self care, the emotional self care, the spiritual self care, whether we are doing adequate meditation, we are exercising adequate, our professional self care. I think then only we will be, if we are taking care of ourselves, then only we will be able to take care of others. And I think let's all now start thinking and start, we need to become our own priority.
Yes, that's great, doctor. That's lovely. I have Rachna Agarwal saying hi to you, doctor.
Hi, Rachna.
Hi, Rachna. And Rubin and Deepa says thank you, Dr. Rubina, for
Thank,
answering her question. So,
thank you, Deep.
this is, yeah, you're very right about that, doctor. We self care is so important. It's so important. Anything medically that we as women should be more mindful about, doctor? As
See, yes,
moms.
absolutely. Apart from the balanced and the nutritious diet, anyways, the Indian diet is very balanced and nutritious. Of late, I
Right.
was reading an article published by an Harvard University, and there they had mentioned, the Indian food is the most balanced and nutritious food.
Wow.
They have come up with the paper where they
Right.
are saying that Indian food is the most nutritious and a balanced food.
Right.
So, and also they have, categorized the need of supplementation for women of all age group. Now,
Yeah.
women who are between the age group from 15 to 30, apart from the nutritious and the a balanced diet, they should take calcium, vitamin D, and iron. So these three supplements are very important for the young ladies. But ladies who are women who are between 30 to 50 years of age group, for them, apart from calcium, vitamin D, take regular calcium, vitamin D, and the vitamin B and folic acid is very important for them to take, and also the antioxidants like beta carotene and selenium. So, in short, everybody should take one multivitamin tablet. Don't go into details of it, but just take just pop up a multivitamin pill
Of course,
every day.
after discussing it with your medical practitioner, like, oh,
I know. Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
right.
Absolutely. And magnesium is very important for ladies who are beyond 50, so they should take
Okay.
magnesium.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why is that, doctor, in particular?
That is because magnesium has an antioxidant property, and that prevents from heart attack, high blood pressure,
Okay.
and your diabetes. Yeah.
Okay. Love. Great. 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 Parul Garg says hi to you, doctor.
Hi, Parul.
And so, doctor, I also wanted to know, a lot of us have our moms or moms in law staying with us. And they're in a separate, I know they're going to be trying to bend backwards to help. So,
Yeah.
any advice for them in particular, doctor, for the senior members of our community, or for our
So,
members to, take care of
so
them?
mom and I mean, you're asking about the lady at home and the mother-in-law at home.
Yeah, what should the lady at home do for her mother-in-law, and what should she tell her mother?
I I think this is the perfect example of social distancing. I think they should practice social distancing the most. I mean, apart from that, most of these women must be more than 60 years of age.
Yeah.
And this is the age group which is very vulnerable to this infection. So they have to be very careful, not only during this time of COVID, but also after the COVID infection is gone. So because I don't know when we will return back to the normal. It will be, I think,
Yes.
Upasna, I think it will be new normal. We don't know.
Absolutely, sir.
We don't know what will happen, what we will do. But still, these people who are above 60 should avoid social gathering, should take all the necessary precautions. The people coming from outside also should, take precaution and then go and meet them. And also, I think they should work on their immunity by building up their own immunity by taking lots of fruits, vitamin C, amla, protein, and calcium, and magnesium and vitamin D. They should build up their own immunity, I think.
Great, great. That's great. Ruhi Sharma also says hi to you, doctor. She's also
Hi,
online.
Rohi. Hi, Rohi.
So, doctor, I have another question. Any advice for adolescents? Like, there'll be a lot of young girls out there who've just started menstruating, who've just started their period, and maybe so anything to their moms.
See, now adolescent is an age which is, very labile, and this is a very vulnerable group where they need a lot of attention. they are going through a lot of hormonal imbalance. Their body is adjusting to hormones. They are getting acclimatized to, womanhood now.
Yes.
So apparently these are the kids where, mothers should actually take care of them
Mm-hmm.
in a very good manner by always being with them, supporting them, telling them about the reproductive health, telling them about the menstrual hygiene. They should follow the menstrual hygiene, and also about the care they should take during the periods. And the family members should also be very supportive toward them, because they also don't know that what is going in their body. A lot of hormonal changes are happening, so I think they need a lot of support at this point of time.
Right. Doctor, any myths, the popular myths that you have heard that you would like to say this is a straight no? Like, I don't know, I read an article somewhere about taking the morning after pill. So, what are your thoughts on that?
See, morning after IPL is not a bad contraception. It is not a contraception where, it is absolutely contraindicated. No, it's not like that. It is an emergency contraception. Now, people say that, okay, I don't know how I got pregnant. I took an IPL. Now, the problem is that they don't understand this is not a regular contraception.
Yeah.
This is an emergency contraception,
Emergency,
and this
yeah.
also comes with the failure rate. It is
Hmm.
not that if you take an eye pill, you will not get pregnant. You still can fall in that 3% people who conceive immediately after a single exposure of intercourse. So eye pill, I don't feel is a bad contraception, but yes, it should be taken under doctor guidance, and also it should be only taken in case of any emergency. It is not a routine contraception, because people, they feel it is so comfortable, just take an eye pill, it's a single dose. But immediately the people come to us with bleeding, spotting, and period irregular, and sometimes pregnancy also. So I think they should take care of this.
Great. What other myths, doctor, would you like to bust over here? Like anything that about, gynecological health?
A lot of people of late are calling me, and they are asking, they have their general query of vaginal discharge. So
Okay.
I would like to tell them that, a lot of people are using V
Okay.
wash or any chemical wash
Right.
like this.
Right.
So I don't think that anybody should use these kind of wash, because they alter the pH of the vagina. Now,
Right.
what happens is there is a balance between the good bacteria and a bad bacteria in my vagina. So if this pH is altered, the bad bacteria come into play, which causes foul smelling discharge, itching, and a lot of irritation. The virus, the infection causes all these symptoms. So the only advice to them is that, just a proper cleaning with a normal water is fair enough, is good enough. And you need not to wash and clean after every urination. Just that you have to keep the area very dry, and hygiene should be proper. And while using the public toilet,
Yeah.
don't sit on the seat. The seats are not clean. It is better to opt for the Indian toilet than the English seats, because they are not good. A lot of bacteria and infection is there. So, and public toilets are the hub of the infection. So I feel, because you cannot avoid the public toilet, but yes, you can avoid, or you can prefer using the Indian toilets.
Even if you spray it, it's not uh, worth it, doctor. I mean,
Yeah, these P safe and all are
yeah.
there, but I really don't know how it is. I mean, it is helping. I haven't seen, people still are coming with this infection. Maybe not everybody is using it yet.
Right.
Can it can be tried. Yeah.
What other myths, doctor, would you like? What other general tips for women at home right now to
So I
keep
would like
their
to
health?
share a few stories. A lot of people
Yes,
of late
doctor, please.
calling me are calling me regarding the regarding their query on the UTI.
Okay.
So because of the summer, they are not having adequate water. They are not able to so they are not able to concentrate on their health because they themselves are so busy these days. So the piece of advice to them will be keep taking regular water. The Don't take any antibiotic without doctor's prescription. Don't keep repeating the antibiotic because you know what is the prescription of the UTI and you feel it is just a part of life and you keep getting it every 3-4 months. So just keep repeating the prescription. I don't think you should do that, and don't take antibiotics without the doctor's prescription.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. That's I think a piece of advice everybody should follow for anything and everything. That don't
Absolutely.
take anything without checking with your doctor first.
Absolutely. Doctors are all available. We are available on phone every
Yes,
time, day and
yes,
night. We are there to help
absolutely,
you.
absolutely, absolutely, doctor, absolutely. Thank you
Yeah.
so much, Dr. Rubina. It's been wonderful. Thank you all for joining us. There have been a lot of people coming and going. And Dr. Rubina is available on online consulting. Her details are on our website. And like I mentioned before, she's an infertility and IVF specialist. And she's been very, very, very helpful in our community. So thank you so much, Doctor. Really appreciate you being here. And
Thank you.
we
Thank
will
you.
catch up again soon offline. Thank you,
Thank you.
everybody. Have a good day. Stay safe.
Thank you.
Thank you.